A huge one I forgot to mention is gluten, which is in every carb pretty much possible. And I know they make like gluten-free stuff, but that shit tastes weird to me. I can still eat chicken. That's good. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be kind of turning into a rabbit. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna turn into a Victoria's Secret model. Call me Angel Reese.
Sophie Cunningham just ignited the biggest controversy of the WNBA offseason, and the internet is calling her everything from a clout chaser to straight up racist. One comment, 20 seconds. Total meltdown across social media. But here's what everyone screaming about this situation is completely missing, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why Sophie's comment reveals something way bigger than just drama between two players. This isn't about Victoria's Secret or Angel Reese. This is about who gets to say what in women's basketball, and the unspoken rules that just got shattered. The blonde bomber just dropped what might be the most calculated 30 seconds of content you'll see all year. Was it a shot? Was it innocent? Hold that thought, because before we can answer that, you need to see exactly what A'ja Wilson said about Aaliyah Boston that has everyone questioning if the WNBA's biggest star is getting a little too comfortable with her protected status.
This is in the championship celebration for the Las Vegas Aces. We got A'ja Wilson with a whistle, and she said, "The only special whistle I know." Okay, A'ja, you gotta relax. You gotta relax, mama. Y'all barely beat a hospital team in the Indiana Fever. Like, come on, come on. Y'all did win a championship, and you did your thing. You balled out. But bro, you act like people are making this up when they talk about you getting a
The only special whistle I know, that's A'ja Wilson, reigning champion, MVP frontrunner, absolute force of nature, mocking the very real criticism that she gets superstar calls. And she's doing it while taking a shot at Aaliyah Boston, who couldn't buy a foul call in their playoff series. You might be thinking this is just competitive banter between rivals. You'd be wrong. This is the exact moment when the WNBA's credibility problem became impossible to ignore, and A'ja just threw gasoline on a fire that's been burning since the finals. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's rewind to Sophie's comment, because what she said about Angel Reese isn't just stirring the pot, it's exposing how fragile the piece really is in women's basketball right now. Most people heard her Victoria's Secret joke and immediately picked a side. What they didn't do is ask the most important question: why did Sophie feel comfortable saying this now?
A huge one I forgot to mention is gluten, which is in every carb pretty much possible. And I know they make like gluten-free stuff, but that shit tastes weird to me. I can still eat chicken. That's good. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be kind of turning into a rabbit. So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna turn into a Victoria's Secret model. Call me Angel Reese.
Listen to how he breaks this down, because he's caught something crucial. Angel Reese just walked the Victoria's Secret runway. That's a fact. Sophie made a joke referencing it. Also a fact. But the reaction? That's where this gets interesting. The comment section turned into a war zone. Race got brought into it immediately. Sophie's being called a clout chaser who only gets attention by dropping bigger names. And here's the part that should make you lean forward. This exact same pattern happened with Caitlin Clark all season long. You've probably noticed how any white player mentioning any black star instantly becomes a racial incident in the WNBA discourse. That's not an accident. That's the environment that's been carefully cultivated over the past 2 years, where every interaction gets analyzed through one lens, and one lens only. Sophie knows this. She's been in the league long enough to understand exactly what happens when you mention certain names. So why'd she do it?
The best thing that's happened recently is Sophie Cunningham getting into the media space. She gonna always give us something. Always, always. I love the fact that Sophie is doing podcasting and talking more. Let's take a look at what Sophie Cunningham was referring to before we...
The best thing that's happened recently is Sophie Cunningham getting into the media space. He's absolutely right, and here's why that matters more than you think. Sophie isn't just a player anymore, she's building a media brand. She's 1/3 of Tres Leches. She's doing podcasts. She's creating content, and content needs engagement. Controversy creates engagement. You know what creates the most engagement in WNBA discourse right now? Anything involving Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark. This is calculated. Sophie's not dumb. She's watching players like Angel leverage their platform into mainstream opportunities. Victoria's Secret, magazine covers, brand deals that dwarf what most WNBA players will ever see. And Sophie just made sure everyone remembers she exists by attaching herself to that conversation. Is it a shot? Is it admiration? Here's what it actually is: strategic positioning. Sophie just inserted herself into the most talked about storyline in women's basketball without saying anything technically offensive. That's masterclass level media manipulation. But notice what happened next. The conversation immediately shifted to whether Sophie was being racist, whether she was jealous, whether white players are allowed to joke about black players. Nobody asked the more interesting question: why is Angel Reese walking fashion shows during the offseason instead of working on the parts of her game that got exposed in the playoffs?
Okay, Angel Reese walking in the fashion show. Okay, she got her angel wings on. Okay, so this is what Sophie Cunningham is referring to. Like I said, I have no problem with this. Walking the runway, bikini thing, whatever. I don't care. You do your thing. I didn't really feel like this was an issue.
Watch this moment carefully. He's showing you Angel on the Victoria's Secret runway, and his take is perfect. I have no problem with this, and he shouldn't. Angel Reese earned that opportunity. She's got the platform, the personality, the marketability. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The same people defending Angel's right to walk fashion shows are the same people who crucified Caitlin Clark for doing a Saturday Night Live appearance during the season. The double standard isn't subtle, it's blatant. And Sophie Cunningham just highlighted it with one joke. When Caitlin does media, she's distracted. When Angel does it, she's building her brand. When Sophie references it, she's racist. You see the pattern. The rules change depending on who's doing what, and everyone's pretending not to notice. That's the real controversy here. Not Sophie's comment, but the fact that she exposed how inconsistent the standards are. Now let's talk about Aja Wilson, because what she said about the officiating is somehow even more delusional than Sophie's situation is controversial. Remember that clip we started with? The only special whistle I know. That's Aja Wilson denying something that's statistically undeniable, and she's doing it while taking a shot at Aaliyah Boston, who got absolutely robbed by officiating in their playoff series.
Special whistle. You know you shot 19 free throws in the final game. You shot more free throws by yourself than the entire Phoenix Mercury team. Nobody's making this stuff up, Asia. Come on, man. Like, y'all act like it's gonna kill y'all to keep it real. It's not gonna kill you to keep it real. Everybody know you get all types of calls that nobody else in this league.
19 free throws. Aja Wilson shot 19 free throws by herself in the championship game. The entire Phoenix Mercury team shot fewer free throws than one player. Let that sink in for a second. The entire roster of a professional basketball team got fewer trips to the free throw line than a single player on the opposing team. And Aja's response to people pointing this out? Mock them. Make jokes about special whistles while pretending the criticism isn't rooted in objective reality. This is classic superstar privilege. The inability to acknowledge advantages because acknowledging them would mean admitting your dominance isn't purely about skill. LeBron James does this. Tom Brady did this. Every all-time great in every sport develops this blind spot where they genuinely cannot see the preferential treatment they receive. But here's where Aja's situation is different. The WNBA can't afford for their biggest star to be this tone-deaf about officiating when the league is desperately trying to build credibility. You might be wondering why this matters so much. Here's why Caitlin Clark just brought millions of new eyeballs to the WNBA. Those fans watched Caitlin get hammered game after game with no calls. They watched her get clotheslined, undercut, and physically targeted while referees swallowed their whistles. Then they watched Aja Wilson breathe near a defender and get a foul call. The contrast isn't subtle. It's destroying the league's credibility with the exact audience they need to retain.
Accolade-wise, she's done it. She's done it. She got MVPs. She got WNBA titles. Aja Wilson is a great player, but she gets a great assist from the officials. You can't breathe next to her. Caitlin Clark can't get a foul. Nafisa Collier can get her leg run through by Alyssa Thomas, no foul. But if you breathe too hard next to Aja Wilson, the referees are blowing a damn whistle. Like, stop it. We're not going to act like that does not exist. We're not going to act like that is not happening. Like, come on.
Listen to the frustration in his voice. You can't breathe next to her. Caitlin Clark can't get a foul. Nafisa Collier can get her leg run through, no foul. But if you breathe too hard next to Aja Wilson, the referees are blowing the whistle. This isn't a hater talking. This is someone who acknowledges Aja's greatness but refuses to pretend the officiating is fair. And that's the position more people need to take, because you can recognize someone as an all-time talent while also pointing out they're getting help from the refs. Aja Wilson is incredible. MVP caliber player. Champion. One of the best to ever do it. And she gets superstar calls that nobody else in the league gets. Both things are true. The problem is, Aja can't admit the second part, and her refusal to acknowledge it makes everything worse. When you deny something obvious, you lose credibility. When you mock people for pointing out something statistically verifiable, you look delusional. And when you take shots at other players like Alia Boston while enjoying advantages those players don't get, you look entitled. Here's what Aja doesn't understand. Alia Boston gave her everything she could handle in that playoff series. If Kelsey Mitchell doesn't get hurt, if the Indiana Fever aren't playing Shea Petty significant minutes because of injuries, the Las Vegas Aces might not even make the finals. The Aces were vulnerable. The Fever exposed them, and the only reason that series didn't go longer was injuries, and let's be honest, officiating that heavily favored the defending champions.
You won it in that round. You was about to go. If Kelsey don't get hurt, Caitlin aside, Sophie aside, all those other injuries aside, if Kelsey don't get hurt, your ass don't even make it to the finals. We had Shea Petty playing. What are you talking about? Like, don't get crazy, Asia. Don't get crazy. The only special whistle I know, yeah, bullsh. I call bullsh. I call that. That's bull stuff right there.
If Kelsey don't get hurt, your ass don't even make it to the finals. That's the truth. Aja doesn't want to hear. The Aces were beatable, the Fever had them on the ropes, and then injuries decimated Indiana's roster, and suddenly the series wasn't competitive anymore. But instead of acknowledging how close that series was, instead of showing respect to a young Fever team that pushed them harder than anyone expected, Aja's making jokes about special whistles and taking shots at Aaliyah Boston. This is the psychology of someone who knows the criticism is valid but can't admit it without feeling like they're diminishing their own accomplishments. Aja's worked her entire life to be this good. She's earned her status as one of the league's best players. But she's also getting help from officials that other superstars aren't getting, and her refusal to acknowledge that makes her look insecure. Confident greatness doesn't need to mock legitimate criticism. Confident greatness can say, yeah, I get calls, but I'm also that good. Aja can't do that because somewhere deep down, she knows the calls are excessive. Now connect these two stories, Sophie and Aja, because they're revealing the same problem from different angles. Sophie made a joke that was probably calculated to get attention, and the response was immediate accusations of racism and clout chasing. Aja made a joke dismissing legitimate criticism, and the response was mostly supportive from the same people attacking Sophie. You see the inconsistency? The same behavior gets completely different reactions depending on who's doing it and who they're talking about.
This is wild. Sophie Cunningham has everybody up in arms. Everybody's up in arms. They calling her a clout chaser. They're calling her racist. All types of stuff. All types of stuff. Sophie knows how to stir the pot. Shots fired at Angel Reese.
Everybody's up in arms. They call her a clout chaser. They're calling her all types of stuff. This is the environment right now. Every comment gets dissected. Every joke gets analyzed for hidden meaning. Every interaction between players becomes a potential controversy. And the people who benefit most from this environment are the ones who know how to navigate it. Players like Sophie, who understand that controversy equals attention. And players like Aja, who understand that their status gives them protection from the same criticism that destroys smaller names. But here's what should concern everyone who cares about the WNBA's growth. This environment is toxic for the league's long-term health. New fans don't want to navigate a minefield where every opinion could be labeled racist. Casual viewers don't want to watch a league where the officiating is so obviously biased towards certain players that it affects competitive integrity. And the players themselves are getting trapped in this cycle where they can't be honest with each other without it becoming a full-scale controversy. Sophie's joke about Angel probably was calculated. It probably was designed to get attention. And you know what? That's smart business in 2025. Angel Reese has leveraged controversy and attention into mainstream opportunities that most WNBA players will never sniff. Sophie's watching that playbook and running it herself. The people mad at Sophie aren't mad that she made a joke. They're mad that she's using the same attention-seeking tactics that other players have successfully used, and she's not supposed to be allowed to do that.
But some people do. I don't feel like it's a big deal. People are saying she always has to drop somebody's name that's popular. She's building her popularity up off other people and Caitlin Clark and all of this stuff. And I don't know. I just don't feel like the Victoria's Secret comment was I didn't feel like that was a big.
People are saying she always has to drop somebody's name that's popular. She's building her popularity off other people. Yes, that's exactly what she's doing. And it's working. We're talking about Sophie Cunningham right now. Her podcast is getting attention. Her media brand is growing. She did exactly what she intended to do, and the people criticizing her for it are giving her exactly what she wanted. More attention, more engagement, more relevance. Sophie's not stupid. She's strategic. And the fact that people can't see that makes the whole situation even more effective. Meanwhile, Aja Wilson is doing the opposite, using her established platform to punch down at younger players and dismiss legitimate criticism. That's not strategic. That's insecurity masked as confidence. When you're at the top, you don't need to mock the people pointing out your advantages. When you're truly secure in your greatness, you can acknowledge the help you get and still know you're elite. Aja can't do that, and it's making her look smaller than her game actually is. The real story here isn't Sophie's joke or Aja's mockery. The real story is what these moments reveal about where the WNBA is right now, caught between explosive growth and internal dysfunction, between mainstream opportunity and toxic discourse, between players who understand modern media and players who think their on-court performance exempts them from criticism. The league is at a crossroads, and these two incidents are perfect examples of the tensions pulling it in different directions.
Walking the runway, bikini thing, whatever. I don't care. You do your thing. I didn't really feel like this was an issue. Some people was calling her all types of names for being in this. I didn't really feel like it was a huge deal, but this is what
Watch how he processes this. The acknowledgement that it's messy, the recognition that these players know exactly what they're doing, the understanding that this is all part of the show now. The WNBA used to be a league where the basketball was the story. Now the basketball is almost secondary to the drama, the discourse, the controversies that happen off the court. Is that good for the league? Depends on who you ask. It's definitely good for engagement. It's definitely good for players building media brands. But is it good for competitive integrity? Is it good for fans who just want to watch great basketball without every game becoming a referendum on officiating or every comment becoming a racial incident? That's the question nobody wants to answer, honestly. Because the honest answer is the drama is driving growth, but it's also driving away the people who care most about the purity of the sport. The casual fans love the mess. The hardcore fans are getting exhausted by it. And the players are caught in the middle, trying to figure out how to navigate an environment where a 30-second joke can become a week-long controversy and 19 free throws in a championship game can be dismissed as special whistle jokes. Sophie Cunningham knows exactly what she did. She saw an opportunity to insert herself into the biggest conversation